Cool. I think that's super impressive. Okay, so I'm gonna try and take this concern and turn it into gain thinking. So let me see if I can do that. Moment of truth. Sweet. Hey dudes, I wanted to share some stuff that I've been playing with over the weekend. So, a lot of you are familiar with GPT-3 and its ability to complete text given a prompt. Um, there's also another feature in GPT which is called embeddings. And what happens is if you give a chunk of text, it can be a word or a sentence or a paragraph or whatever, to GPT, you can run it against an embedding model and get back essentially a vector. Now, I'm still trying to understand exactly how this works, but my current understanding is that the embedding vector is sort of like a GPS location for that piece of text. Instead of an X and Y coordinate, it's actually like 20 or 30 coordinates, a number from 0 to 1. I'll see if I can peek in and show you what that looks like just now. Um, but what's really cool is if you get two vectors for two different chunks of text, you can do some vector math on them and see how close they are semantically. So let me dive straight in. So over here I've got a very simple Ruby script. I've got a function called embedding vector. It takes in an input, calls OpenAI and gets an embedding. I'm using the text similarity Da Vinci model, which is good for comparing semantic similarity, Da Vinci obviously being the best model they have. And then I convert that into a vector so I can do math on it. And then I've got a function called vector distance, which essentially just does a dot product on two vectors and rounds it because the number is quite big. So a dot product is just a way to get the absolute distance between two coordinates. So if you imagine sort of on a XY plot, two dots at different points, the dot product is the distance between those two dots, so the line you draw between them. But because we're dealing with a neural network and it's like 20 dimensions in the vectors, it's kind of hard to visualize, but the same kind of concept applies. Okay, so enough theory. I've built a task here called get embedding. It just takes in two sentences, gets the embedding vector for each one, and then calculates the distance and shows the distance. So let's play with that, and then I'm going to build something else to show you how cool this is. Okay, so let's get the embedding distance between cat and dog. Cool, so 0.85, which means they're pretty close. So it goes from 0 to 1. If we try cat and kitten, even closer. And if we try, let's say, cat and sushi. Okay, so not so close. What about cat and the very concept of existence itself? Okay, cool. So I think you can start to see that these distances might actually be quite useful to work with. I'm going to play a little bit more. Let's try Paris and France. Okay, they're very close. Let's try happy and glad. Also very close. Cool. Okay, so what's this good for? So what I want to do is build a tool that'll help me think a little bit more positively about life. So um, for those of you that don't know the difference between gap and gain thinking, Benjamin Hardy talks a lot about this in positive psychology. He talks about how it's important to have more gain thinking than gap thinking. So gap thinking means you're living in sort of the distance between you and what you don't have, and gain thinking, the distance between your present and how far you've come from the past. So let's make a quick task. I'm going to make a task called identify thinking. I'm just going to take in a sentence. And for this one, what I'm going to do is compare the input sentence to the embedding for gap thinking and the embedding for gain thinking. Okay, so I've got my two test sentences. So I've got gap thinking as a negative trait for thinking about what's missing in life. It's characterized by a focus on what you don't have rather than what you do have. It looks at the shortfalls you have. This can lead to feelings of dissatisfaction, envy, and insecurity. Gap thinking can be counterproductive as it can prevent you from appreciating the good in your life and from taking action to improve your situation. Game thinking is a positive trait for thinking about what's present in life. It's characterized by a focus on what you do have rather than what you don't have. It looks at the progress and gains you've made. This can lead to feelings of satisfaction, gratitude, and security. Game thinking can be productive as it can encourage you to appreciate the good in your life and to take action to improve your situation. So I actually got GPT to write this for me. I edited it a bit as well. Cool, so we've got our two test sentences. Let's just spit out the vectors for interest's sake. So I'm going to go, I'm just going to print the embedding vector for the first test sentence, just so you guys can see what it looks like. So, okay, let's just get the, I'm going to run it. Okay, so here's my vector for gap thinking. So this is the coordinate inside the neural network. As you can see, okay, it's not 20 dimensions, it's like way, way more. Many, many, many. Cool, so that's the coordinates. And any text you give it will have those coordinates. So I'm not going to bore you with doing the other one, but cool. So what we want to do is now we want to get the embedding coordinates for both of these and also for the one that comes in. So let's just print out the sentence to make sure we've got it. Cool. So okay, so we get our embeddings for each one, and we just want to compare which one's closest. So just print them out. Okay, just check that looks good. Okay, so let's test it out now with, I'll never get anywhere in life. See what we get. Okay, so this is closer to gap than gain thinking. Now let's try it out with, I've been making steady progress. Cool, that is closer to game thinking. So what I want to do is instead of spitting out these, I just want to make a decision. So if gap distance is greater than gain distance. Okay, I think I'm doing Python. Python is not really. I think there's a way to do a one-liner, but whatever. Cool, this is game thinking. Let's test it one more. Cool. I think that's super impressive. Okay, so I'm going to try and take this concern and turn it into game thinking. So let me see if I can do that. Moment of truth. Sweet. This is fucking cool. So what I was thinking of doing is putting my daily notes, my morning diary or whatever through this, getting the distance to gap and gain thinking, and maybe even just like highlighting specific sentences that are gap and gain thinking so that I can learn. This was my quick foray into embeddings. There's so much you can do. Jamiro had a cool idea about the game code names, where essentially you're trying to get words that are clues that are very close to the words you want them to guess and very far from the words you don't want them to guess, something like the bomb word or whatever that makes you lose the game. So that could be a really cool use case for this. I think there's obviously just like so many different use cases. This is the one I chose. I hope this helps you understand embeddings a teeny bit, and I'm keen to explore more.